Good evening and welcome. It is time for Monday Night Football, Lagos Soweto TV. The name is Kamzambata. As we get into the show where we remove the filter of what's happening in Mzansi football, it's been a big weekend for Mamelodi Sundowns. There's soon to be ex-president, who's now the new president of CAF, getting the big gig. And of course, them as a team marching on as far as their on-field antics are concerned. We also have a look at what happened when TTM and Leopards met. Of course, TTM on the up, and some contract renewals and contract nullifications, I guess, at Kaizer Chiefs. We'll discuss those as well. Let me introduce you to my panel. Joining me this evening, I have none other than Veli Lemnyandu, Greg Atafia, and Timothy Batabayira joining me in the house. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thanks. I'm so shocked. I'm sure you are too. Patrice did it. No one expected this one.
Are you shocked?
No one expected this one, really.
No, are you shocked?
This is where I put
2
that.
weeks before,
I put that straight.
all the candidates
I put the hash and I put the S at the end.
I mean, all the three candidates withdrew, and then you're telling me you're shocked? A week before? Come on.
How do I get S for sarcasm? There we go. Putting you on. Yeah. Anyway, now that you know I'm being sarcastic, let's talk about this big victory. We saw it coming from a mile away, but I think, for a lot of people, it's about maximizing the value that African football has. That's what Patrice sounds like he's going to do. Are you confident he's going to get it done?
Look, I've been thinking about this, and I know that not a lot of people are talking about something like this. I was just thinking, Patrice Motsepe, businessman, involved in football for a very long time, almost 2 decades now. Football is in the doldrums on the continent. It's also tough times of COVID-19. You saw when they presented the financials, CAF, 11 million USD in the red. That's more than 160 million rands.
Right.
And it's COVID-19 times. And the organization was struggling even before COVID-19. So I'm just thinking, who around the game? Yes, you can bring some of the football officials who are in the game, who are FA presidents, you can bring them. But are they going to give you the solutions you're looking for? Especially right now. Because right now, that's when you need the private sector. Not multinationals from outside the continent. Those who are here on the continent.
African companies.
Exactly. Work hand in hand with all their FAs. And you might have heard, this is something that was also coming from a speech on Friday. Visiting these countries. Even in terms of engaging their business in their own countries. That's where the FAs on their own, they're not going to be in this fight alone. CAF needs to come in. So I was just thinking that him coming at CAF, I think it's also got to do with the state of the organization and what are the priorities that are needed at the organization.
For sure. I mean, Greg, it seems like money is one of the big things on the agenda. When Issa Hayatou was still there, they were on a decent footing and then kind of went downhill, and now Patrice has this job to try and make everyone want to throw money at CAF.
Yeah, I mean, for him, coming to the CAF environment, I think is a good thing. First of all, congratulations to him and for being the president. We just hope the next 4 years will be a better one for him. I mean, we have passed through a lot of things from CAF, but at this time now, I just feel like, since Hayatou left, it was okay. We say that it stays too long. I mean, it's going to better things, but it's getting worse. But I think the financial situation now, with Patrice there, with his business, knowledge, I think that's the most important thing. The TV rights, on the field, he says he's going to make sure African football do well, And the most important thing that he says that, every African country will be happy of. He says he's going to visit, in this 1 year, he's going to visit every country, and which, I mean, that's a good thing, because seeing you as a person, in a person, is give them motivation, to tell you a lot of things that they are going through. And I just feel like, this is the right person. We just hope, people around him can support him. That's the most important thing in African football.
Okay. I mean, on that note, he does seem to be someone who wants to kind of lead and govern by consensus, Timothy. So there was a bit of a flare point where some journalists didn't like the fact that when it was time for questions for the newly just inaugurated president, he would kind of, you know, pass off some of the questions to other members of the panel. How do you read that one?
Look, I'll understand the feeling of the journalists. They are used to the old system. This is the new system. You know, you have to delegate. You need to empower your team to be able to make decisions even when you're not available. And I think that's what he brings. You know, his wisdom, engagement, and passion for the game. That's what is going to take African football forward. But for me, what is of importance now is if other FAs are going to buy into his ideas. He has got the leadership, yes, but we know the detriment of African football is the leadership in various countries. Now, they have to change their mentality to get on board, buy into his vision, and try to make sure that they can make football, you know, become a better brand. Then you can attract the corporate world, the private sector, and then the government will heavily invest in football. So as we celebrate Motsepe's coming on board, we need also to applaud the FA presidents that voted anonymously. CAF has never been headed by somebody outside the FA of the member countries. Those are 54 countries. For once, SAFA, in their own wisdom, chose a candidate that is not tainted. We are not talking about moral decayed person that is after money, is after anything like that.
Right.
Is after trying to serve, to give us something better that we can celebrate. For once, I can dream that we can compete with Europe.
Yeah,
Interesting.
for instance, I think Ahmad was on a 40,000 USD salary, and then he had an annual bonus of 80,000 USD.
This man who ran the
Yes.
organization into the ground.
Yes.
Wow.
And Motsepe, he doesn't even fly commercial to go to Cairo. Just as his taxi. You know, but I think to what Tim is saying, if I'm a journalist, I'm asking Tim a question. I'm not asking Greg a question or Kamza.
Right.
I'm asking Tim the question.
But if Tim says Greg is better placed to answer that question?
No, but I'm telling you why journalists are not satisfied.
Yeah.
Because also, you'll find that the journalists, they've heard from these other ones.
Right.
They know what they feel about this.
Yes.
Understand?
Yeah.
But now this new leader that has just been installed, they want to hear directly from that leader.
Right.
But this is not an argument. I'm just giving you the journalistic perspective.
I understand, but you know, it's always wrong to have an answer for the question you're asking. I think that's not right.
But me, I feel for the first time.
It's not. I was just.
Yeah.
We're not arguing. Yeah, no. We're not arguing.
I know,
We're not
yeah.
arguing. We're not arguing.
But Tim, I mean, you can't apply that situation on all instances. I get it maybe further down the line, but on the first day, when you've just been installed, people are asking, they want questions from the main man.
Look, everybody expects him to have everything on his fingertips, but I disagree. For example, you have got the financials that are in the doldrum.
Yeah.
So it will be suicidal for him to answer financial issues when the financial person is right there. So I think the way he did it to empower the financial person to answer that question, or in whatever way, may not be appealing to the journalist asking the question, but I think the answer is right there.
No financial person.
No, I know, but
it was the new vice president.
I'm just giving an example.
And then the senior advisor.
Right.
But let's not stretch it.
I just want to touch on the TV rights thing because we did a snap poll on Twitter around, what he needs to kind of attack first. And people said this whole thing of rights is a big issue. But are rights going to have to be done differently in Africa, in a place where the moment you speak about rights and licensing and someone paying, it means that that content is probably going to end up behind a paywall. Is that the answer for African football, considering the challenges that we have as a continent?
Look, there's a serious challenge around the rights because also it means that the exposure for African football is not there. When you have, sub-Saharan Africa is like more than the half of the continent, and yes, maybe in Francophone countries they're not suffering as we're suffering because they still have other channels, your Canal Plus, and you can mention some of these countries, these channels that they have. But as the Anglophone, we're really suffering because the Anglophone mainly depends on one channel.
Right.
You know the channel that we all rely on to watch. But also even the channel was not even showing us all the matches.
Right.
So I think there's a way that they need to work around this. And I'm confident that they'll get to the bottom of it. Because the issue is with Lagadia
Right.
Yeah.
and how that contract was stopped and, you know, all those things that were done there. So it's all about going back, activate whatever is wrong there. Because we are just a week away from, we can't even watch our nations
Yeah.
playing qualifiers, you know, let alone our clubs. Tomorrow is what? It's
Champions League.
it's week 4
Yeah.
of the
Yeah,
Champions League.
Champions
We can't even watch our clubs,
Right.
you know,
Right.
especially this side. Because I don't know, maybe there at CAF, some people didn't really care about this. Because in North Africa, they won't be in sports.
Right.
They're watching.
Yes.
So this doesn't concern them.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
So for a change, we have people.
Who have our interests at heart.
Exactly.
Sure.
For the first time at CAF, you are going to have an SG who doesn't come from North Africa. In Veron. You know? You have someone who doesn't come from North Africa.
Right.
Yes, you can tell me that you're staying in Switzerland, but his roots are in DRC. But there's a president, and there's a president that doesn't have North Africa. And there's an SG. Because when you talk about the problems that are seriously challenging, most of the time on the continent, they are in this side of the continent.
I think there's a lot of things on his table, you know, to deal with, you know, and, you know, okay, his vice, you know, here and there, you need to consult people, you know, around him. That's why you have a strong, you know, people around him. I just feel like, apart from the TV rights, the women football, you know, the youth development, you know, a lot of things he needs to do, but he can't just, we cannot expect him now just to do it all of a sudden. Things cannot just start, you know,
What's the
step by
lowest
step.
hanging fruit in terms of achievements and things that he can get in there and sort out immediately? What are some of those easier wins that'll help build confidence around his presidency?
They have to be the TV rights.
TV rights.
I think that's very crucial. And
Right.
for me, if from the word go, if he has to push the infrastructure part, I don't expect the FAs to try and push for the infrastructure. But if his leadership tries to push the FAs and engage with the government, because if he has promised to visit every country, it means that he will be able to engage the various heads of state for various countries. So his vision to improve infrastructure, I think that will come in handy. There is no FA that can solely develop infrastructure in every country.
Yeah, in fact, on this issue of the infrastructure, you will recall that during the manifesto launch, this is one of the things that he was driving to say in each and every country that will be visiting. In fact, there's the infrastructure development. That was part, I think, number 4 in his manifesto plan.
Right.
And yesterday, I also heard something about talk of a $1 billion USD investment fund that will go towards this project. It does appear that it's also an immediate project, that one. In fact, when he spoke at his manifesto launch, he said already there are people that have approached him that should he be successful in this campaign,
Yeah.
they want to come in and help. Remember, he's said it himself, he's got businesses in 40 African countries.
Right.
So it means that in those 40 countries that he's got business in, already he's there with
He's got tentacles. He's got
the local
reach.
businesses.
Yeah, sure.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I think here there's a plan. You know, there's a plan, but it's just how it's going to be executed. And I also hear talk of he's got a first 100 days plan as well. So maybe in the press conference tomorrow we'll hear more about this first 100 days.
For sure.
Which will be to say this is what we want to achieve. Because I want to agree when you talk about TV rights that is there. Because once you sort out the issue of TV rights,
Right.
then all the competitions gets to be accessible.
Right.
Then the CAF competitions become the talk of the town.
Yeah.
Then they bring in the cash.
Right. It's a domino effect that starts with that. And I mean, obviously, like idea being that, you know, a company that obviously had some kind of relationship with the higher ups there at CAF and enjoyed a strange relationship. But in terms of making it a bit more equitable, we spoke about the company that does it in this region of the world. But surely we should be trying to find more ways of getting the content, and especially when we're speaking about exposing and shining a light on maybe women's football.
Yeah, you see, I just think that with the whole Lagadia thing, we come from that era of CAF where everything was just done in France. You know, And times have changed now.
Right.
You know, and these are some of the things that really need to be looked at. But I think one of the problems with the previous regime is how they just cancelled that contract. You know,
Right.
to contract like that it's not really easy. And also, Dr. Motsepe comes in at a time when CAF is also launching the CAF Women's Champions League. You know, of which his team, Sundowns, is also participating there.
Right.
But also, I'm saying this because he's always also had this vision, even at his club. If you look at the Mamelodi Sundowns ladies now, they get almost everything that the men's team is getting.
Yeah.
So you also need somebody with that kind of a mentality.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that happened this past weekend, for the first time in the history of African football at CAF, there was a female vice president, Kanizat Ibrahim. She's the chairperson of the Comoros Normalization Committee. You know, she was appointed as the 5th vice president for the first time.
Right.
But now, if you look at this gender balance and gender equality, that even maybe on the side of PATRICE Motsepe, where does it come from? Because you also have to credit him, because this is happening under his reign. At his club, one of the prominent board members is Dr. Rejoice Smelane, who's also serving in his second term now
Right.
at PSL. So you can already see his imprint just in the first week.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
just in the first week, yes. And maybe you'll never know that this is something that he also wanted to push. So this thing is not going to be a lip service.
Right.
You understand? What has been the dominant talk from him? Implementation, results.
Yeah.
He's been talking about results.
For sure.
Because football officials like to talk
Right.
too much and not deliver.
Well, let's see. It's going to be interesting times ahead as we speak about that 100 days that might be referenced as he heads back home on Tuesday to speak to the press as Dr. Patrice Motsepe, the newly installed president of CAF. We'll take a short little break, after which Monday Night Football continues. Welcome back as we continue with Kabuyelo, but this time focusing on what's been happening with the actual team. Mamelodi Sundowns doing well to dispatch first off Polokwane City and then at the weekend of Stellenbosch. And one crucial figure in all of this, as per usual it would seem, Peter Shalulile once again in the mix. Tim, I mean, pretty much, you know, one of the players where already kind of looking as a shoo-in for player of the season, but in terms of his values, just kind of up and up, it seems.
Look, Peter's been consistent. He only changed clubs, but he went to a better club. There's more service for him. No, I'm
just upgrade yourself.
With a throwback.
The truth hurts. The truth hurts, but it doesn't need, you know, that the physical service is getting free service from the more, you know, skilled midfielders of Sundowns. They trust that he can score goals. So his effort is more in the kitchen, you know, where his finishing touch is very precise. So for him, it's only to get better. One of the best signings so far, you know, we have seen in a long time, you know, where you get a player from one club and just fits into the system. And this is Sundowns we're talking about. So you look at his instinct finishing, you know, not once, not twice, but it's always, you know, scoring on the end of the game. His awareness in that area is second to none.
Greg, I mean, you look at this game here, Stellenbosch did well in the first half. Even Coach Mangoba said, you know, they pretty much kind of strangled Sundowns out of their game. But Sundowns, that level, always have a solution. They have the key for any lock.
Yeah, first of all, before Peter went to Sundowns, he was joint scorer in with Highlands Park. I mean, Sundowns, you know, they have a lot of qualities. I mean, you expect team that plays 17 games, you know, I mean, won 11, you know, draw 6. They scored 28 goals, 8 against, and the top keeper in the country in Africa, 11 clean sheet. I mean, what do you expect? I mean, these are top. All of them, they're, you know, they're internationals, you know, and, you know, with Peter in the striking road there, it's just, you know, the cherry they needed, you know, for everything to blend. I think it's one of the, for me, I mean, okay, He's one of the top strikers now in the country, if not the continent, because Champions League, you can include the Champions League there, you know. I mean, he's a top striker. I mean, he has done so much for Sundowns, you know. I just think Sundowns, you know, they just need only 9 games to win the league now. And, you know, that's for me. I mean, I think for them, they're going to go unbeaten throughout the season because
I was about to say, it's the best. We've never had an unbeaten season. Do you think the Sundowns team are probably...
They will lose at some stage.
They'll lose
against
at
which team?
Yeah.
Even in the league?
But
in the league?
In the league, yes. But that loss won't really have an impact.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they will lose at some stage.
Other than just getting rid of an unbeaten season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, but you
remember,
do think...
Sundowns, when you look at even in the CAF Champions League, this is a season where Sundowns, for me, I can boldly say they are my favorites to win the Champions League. If I look at the teams that are playing Champions League now,
Yeah.
and I look at how unsettled, even Wydad, when you look at Wydad, it's just that maybe Wydad, they're not really in a strong group. You know, I watched the game of Esperance and Zamalek. Both teams not really convincing for me. You know, Al Ali is also struggling, even in their group.
Right.
And I'm saying this knowing that once you get to the quarterfinals and you get to the semis, the knockout phase is a different ball game. But for me, there's something this Sundowns team is balanced. You know, it's balanced, and Shalulile brings a dimension that was not there last season.
Sure.
But yet Sundowns was still
winning.
effective,
competitive,
and competitive. But now they've got a number 9, and a different number 9. You look at the goals he's scoring. These are not Sundowns like goals. You know.
And if you look at his finishing, for me, what is key?
Yes.
His ability to bring the rest of his teammates into play.
Right.
He's not shy to let another player score. For me, that is a complete striker. He's not worried about scoring, but he's worried more about the performance of the team.
100%.
They never had that.
You saw Sereno in a better position.
If
from Islands Park.
Yes.
Just a chip in that.
So what are talking ABC Motsepe?
No.
Talking premium football,
Top level.
yeah. But if you look at it, like Tim is saying, if he's not providing an assist, he is scoring.
Right.
If he's not doing one of those two, he is bringing as a secondary assist.
Right.
You know, he's always there. Before this game, you see here, assist, goal.
And a goal, yeah.
You go to the game before,
Against Polokwane.
against Polokwane, a goal,
Yep.
an assist,
Sure.
and also even in the penalty, he was involved.
But
You understand?
you know what-
You go even the game before against CR Belouizdad, again,
Right.
even there.
He's a player, very orthodox.
No.
You can do all your video analysis,
Yeah.
but he's going to come up with something that is very strange. When it comes to his aerial power, he's holding on to the ball, his finishing. What disturbs defenders most is running off the shoulder of the defender. He does that well.
Exactly. And let me tell you, it's going to be international week after this coming weekend. He's not going to sit there in Clorcop. He's going to go and play for Namibia
Sure.
in the AFCON qualifiers. Now, those are the players who want internationals. He was at the AFCON,
No, for sure. They're really right. Let's talk about TP Mazembe because Sundowns are playing them next. Obviously, did the job of going that side and getting the result, and now have to finish things off. Looking at that, obviously, Erasmus was lost through injury. They've got the likes of Afonso coming back. As far as quality, they've got plenty of that. But Velile, you were at the press conference today. In terms of the coach and his plans for this one, how does he see it through?
Yeah, no, very interesting. And I think I agree with him that Mazembe, this is do or die for them. It's an old cliche in football. It's really do or die for them because Sundowns is on 9 points. You know, 100% winning record so far.
For sure.
And all these other teams, they are just on 2 points.
Sure.
So if Sundowns wins tomorrow,
It's game up.
you know, it's game over.
Yeah.
Game over
Especially for Mazembe.
Sure.
You know, it's game over for Mazembe. And Mazembe is a big team. You know, for them to bounce out in the group stages like this, you know. So he expects Mazembe to come out tomorrow And but also Mazembe, it was very interesting because their players were not available. Some of their key players, they're not available for the first leg, but now they are available. And it's going to be interesting also the approach of Sundowns, because Coach Mangoba believes that tomorrow's game, there is no team that wants to draw.
Right.
Sundowns wants to win the game and make sure that they can now concentrate on the domestic program.
Sure.
And deal with the domestic program.
Sure.
Because they are also smelling another treble. In fact, they can even make it more than the treble.
Right.
You know, they can even make it more than the treble. Last season, they took the PSL title,
The Nedbank.
the league title. They took the Nedbank, and it was the Telcom.
Right.
Yeah. So this time, this time they can only do the treble.
It'll be a treble again, yeah.
But a treble with the Champions League.
No, for sure.
No.
That's the proper treble.
That's special.
Yeah.
That's special. Jingles did it that other side. You know. So, and if you look at the draw, let's be honest.
Yeah.
They beat Pirates in the semi-final. In the Nedbank.
Then they won the Nedbank.
No,
Then they're already leading here. You understand what I mean?
Right.
They're already leading by this margin that they're leading.
No, but beating Paris is going to be very difficult. You know, Paris is a good team that will give Sundowns a good fight.
Yeah.
So I just feel that it's going to be on that game. Because playing on Tuesday and playing on Thursday is going to be, okay, they have a lot of players that can come in and replace anyone there.
Yeah.
But I think Pirates is where, okay, they are playing on Wednesday.
They play on Wednesday.
Yeah, playing on Wednesday.
If I look at the Sundowns that's playing now,
Yes. Against the Pirates that's playing now.
I don't want to play Sundowns.
Yeah.
I don't want to play Sundowns. A Sundowns that had an Obrimo Diva, they had a Lakay, and then Obrimo Diva who comes in and he puts in a cross here
Sure.
to Sharulin. I don't want to play that kind of a Sundowns.
South African football has served us so many surprises. So South African football is the only league where one team will be on the 8th position, they win one game, and they are second on the log. You are last on the log, you win one game, you are 5 places up. So South African football is very dynamic. It doesn't respect football predictions. So anything can happen. They can as well. I never expected Stellenbosch to bring that A game against Sundowns.
Right.
But they passed their
But
examinations.
what happened at the end?
That's what I'm saying. But now you're having Pirates team with equally good players in comparison to Sundowns, more rested. So I think it will be a very good game of football.
For instance, I watched Paris last week
Right.
against ESTF. Good, came back with a point. But I don't know, you guys are internationals. Paris had 2 number 9s sitting on the bench, playing away.
I mean, the coach,
And I could see each and every time Paris was going forward,
Yeah.
ESTF defense was settled. Because there's no pressure.
There's no threat of a strike.
You know?
Right.
And I'm not saying the tactics are wrong for here at home, but continental football is a different animal.
Right.
I think
And in fact, most successful teams on the continent have never been teams that play with a false 9.
Look, Pirates is, I think, suffering from not being on the continent for so long, honestly speaking. If you look at the crop of players they have,
It's not suited to...
and you compare Sundowns,
Right.
for over the years, that experience that has been gained by Sundowns. That's why Sundowns can go anywhere on the African continent and still play the way they want
I
to.
disagree.
Tim,
No, I
there's a
disagree.
Mango.
I agree.
There's a Mango
disagree.
who leads the line for Malawi. They go to Morocco. Mango leads the line. He's there.
We have to say, Kabza, just the coach,
Yeah.
the preferred lineup he wants to use. He feel like he's playing away game in the neutral ground. He feel like, okay, off the ball movement from his shadow strikers, he's gonna work for him. Coming back home to play against Eyimba, it might be a different ball game. So we must just, give him that. Getting the point away, it's a good point in
Right.
Champions League, but we expect them to.
But
to
it could
do
have been
to
better
win.
if you had the number
but
9.
getting 1 point.
It could have been better.
But getting 1 point is value, because when you come home, you win now, you lead. Because anybody just
So
won.
will they win their home game without a number 9?
Definitely, they can do that.
No ways.
Who are scoring for them? You have the Pule that is scoring. You have the Lodge that is scoring. You have the centre backs that are chipping in. So what are you saying? You have the midfielders that are chipping in.
The reason
Against
why
Marisbeck. How many? Who scored? The midfielders chipping.
Enyimba, Yesatif is not my respect.
No, you can't compare on the day. What happened on the day matters. If Pirates bring their A game, they can beat anything.
No, but
Pirates
now-
can beat
but-
Sundowns.
but
We're talking
now-
about now. They can beat them when they meet.
But that's
so I know Pirates is a good team.
Right.
It's just on that day, on that 90 minutes, they come with their 8 game and they will do
But
it.
Etafia, we are not talking of what may happen.
Yeah.
We are trying to say you have got a natural 9.
You forgot
You-
they
you've
won.
got- you've got a natural 9.
They won the MTN. They are the current champion now.
yes.
So give them that credit.
No, but-
because for them to get there and win it, give them that credit.
you know-
Sundowns were there, all the other team were there, and Pirates
What-
did it.
I
So
agree
leave
with
them where
him.
they are.
Yeah, I agree with him.
Thank you.
He's forgetting that when they won, the 9 was there.
Yes.
Which of the nine?
You understand?
Who's
I agree with you when you
Who
say
was the 9
they are the
there?
current, they are the defending champions.
was the 9?
That's true. So there's no way you can put Mango
Lodge was
on
coming
the
back
bench.
from, Mango
No,
was coming from
let,
injury.
let me tell you.
Lodge was the one roaming about. Pule and them, they were chipping in.
Let me tell you. You have
Yeah.
you know
Nah.
the moment you lose 9.
Going to the finals.
No, but Etafia, listen. We're talking about Shaolil Peter.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about a complete
Peter is
player.
not outright striker. He doesn't stay there. He
No, no.
drops off the shoulder.
No,
He
no.
comes down to receive the ball.
But
We're talking about a target. You're talking about a target man.
No.
But he can
And
still
also-
do what a striker does.
No, but also when he does that,
Yeah.
when he drops, what happens with the defenders? They
Lodge-
follow him,
Lodge-
right?
Lodge do that too.
No.
Lodge did
no,
that.
no,
Always
no,
do
no.
that
What
too.
happens with the defenders?
They-
And then his teammates take
Exactly.
the advantage. Then there's a Sereno who takes the advantage. You understand? So without having the 9 there, I was watching the game.
Once
Yeah.
you once you're
Yeah,
defending.
I was watching the game too.
The yesterday
Yeah,
game.
in Ghana. Yeah, before we got injured.
And did you
and
see
went
how
up.
easy it was
It's
for the
very
defense
easy
of
when-
Yesterday?
Because of
Ve-
their
very-
plan work against
No,
Pirates.
Vele, what I know, if you don't have a 9,
Yeah.
if you have got a good team, you have given a chance to the central defender to start playing as a midfielder. That joining in becomes an extra player to hurt you more. And that's what was happening.
For me-
Now, when you have a 9, when that 9 draws out a central defender, if you have got brilliant midfielders, they feel in that.
Council, let me
You
give you an example.
destabilize them.
There's a lot of
So-
different nines. There's,
Right.
there's a target 9. There's
Yes.
a big man like
Yeah.
Alfonso come to play.
Right.
It's easy for a defender. He's a centre back. He knows that it's easy for him to mark that big man because that big man doesn't have mobility. He's
Right.
gonna stay static.
Sure.
The ball will come to him. You play a touch and
Easy
try to run to
pick.
the China.
Right.
But when you have a mobility of a striker that is playing the first 9. In terms of Pule played that, Lodge played that, it's difficult for them as a defender to mark because you know why? They drop them out of position to give other players to score. That's why Pirate midfielders are scoring more goals.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Whether that's going to be the tactic to get them the result against the Nyimba, we're going to see. It's worked for the most part this season for Orlando Pirates, who haven't played out with an out-and-out striker. So let's see how it goes. We take a short little break and continue after this. Welcome back. As looking back on the Nedbank Cup this weekend, of course, there were some results that came through with Callies being able to beat Cape Town Stars. But obviously, there's a big result that saw TTM in the battle against Black Leopards. TTM obviously playing in a much better vein of form. Things have improved, but Konstantin Papic, not so much for him with this Black Leopard side in the Cup. Belile, some will say, okay, it's fine, let them just focus on the league.
You know, I was looking at Richards Bay playing against Chipper. Richards Bay made 8 changes to the team that had played the previous league game.
Right.
You know, so in Richards Bay, they are chasing the top spot.
For sure.
They are now level on 28 points with Sekhukhune.
Yeah.
When it comes to this competition, it has always been a norm that if you're a team that is vying for promotion or a team that is trying to avoid relegation,
Yeah. It's
Hey,
best to sit it out.
try and secure the status first.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying here Leopards lost deliberately, but you could see that these ones, TTM, they're more motivated. They're coming on the back of good results as
Yeah.
well. You know, so I was not entirely surprised
Right.
with this loss of Leopards, even though they were a bit offish as well, because TTM had better chances.
Right.
You know, but as a team that is rooted at the bottom of the log, Leopards, I think for me, what's more important is on saving their status.
No, for sure. Which they'll get plenty of time now, Timothy. I know you, as maybe a contrarian, would have said that maybe it would have been good for their motivation in the league. But do you tend to agree on this one, or?
No ways. They have to win. They are losing. That's why they're at the lower end of the log.
So it would have better served them if they had stayed in the cup.
Exactly, because psychologically these players are now, even before the game starts, they know that they have been losing. So they need to try and change that for them to give themselves a chance to compete. At this moment in time, they can win nothing.
Right.
So this is something that is off. It comes once in a while. Go for it.
But their trophy is survival.
No, that shouldn't be. That's misguided. Because they are still at the log, last on the log.
Yeah.
So you can't guarantee that you're gonna save the status.
But surely then by making sure you expose your best players to less chances of injury, suspension, you have them for the league.
Let me tell you something which is interesting. It is tough to train, no more training, than a game. A game is more easy.
Right.
So
the more games
the more they
more
get, yes,
yeah.
you get your team together and understand each other. Let them become that well-oiled machine.
In a better environment.
Yes. You cannot say you're going to choose certain games and everything like that. No. If he's injured, he's out, get somebody else, let it continue. That's how I would take it.
For me, I just feel like Black Leopard on that day, Ramaji was on the bench. I think he's the one, driving them to come back, at least even to get to the playoff, because right now they are head-to-head with Marisbeck United. And
right.
that seems TTM already moving away from there now. And if you don't win your next game, which is very important, the cup game is important too. But for me right now, Black Leopards should be thinking about saving their status. They have been in this situation for over past 3 seasons. And now this is the worst one they have been now, because they always be on the playoff side before. But now it's difficult now, because every other team now, they're getting points. And, teams ahead of you getting points, getting 3 points, 1 point, and you not winning any game is very difficult. Nedbank is gone out of the way now.
Right.
They should be focusing on the league now, but they need to start winning games.
Okay, so according to you, Greg, both these gentlemen are right.
According to me, Tim is not right, he is right.
Okay.
Yes. And also,
you know what? Black Leopards.
You know what? We must listen to Greg.
Yeah.
Greg has experience
Yeah, sure.
when it comes to battling relegation.
For sure, at the
Yeah,
bottom.
because you don't think, because the thing is, you want to keep your status, because it's more important. Because if you keep your status, the next when you're in the league the next year,
you can try for that trophy.
Trophy.
Yeah, you can try for that trophy.
Black Leopards. We're talking about Black Leopards here, which has learned nothing and forgotten everything. This is Black Leopards. Every season, they are down there.
Right.
When it comes to sacking coaches, they are the first. Everything. They seem to learn nothing.
Yeah.
So, when you're fighting relegation, I can guarantee you, it is on the minds of the player that we're going to lose again. You must get a victory to change the thinking in the camp.
We always say winning is a habit and losing is a habit.
Yeah.
You want to win games, like Sundowns. Now we give example like Sundowns. They want to win any game in front of them. So understand what Timothy is saying. Is say they need to start winning from somewhere, and the Nedbank was the opportunity for them to start winning, for them to take it to the league.
I guess to Tim's point, Stavej, you look at the Chipper game, Anthony Lafort, that was his first goal for the club. Without that cup game, Tim might say, he might not gotten off the mark and getting that, regularity that game time. But here we have it. Chipper also in a bit of a precarious situation, moving ahead, forging ahead in the cup.
I'm taking nothing away from the win.
Yeah.
But what did I say when I started? A team from Glad Africa Championship made 8 changes.
For sure.
And brought in French players.
Yeah.
And the final score was what?
2-1.
Yeah. But Richards Bay is not expected. They are in the lower.
No. But I'm saying,
So
I'm saying a team in the lower division when they made 8 changes.
We also had a good news story by beating teams like Chiefs on the way. They could have carried on with this, but even they saw Guti. You know what? Let's just focus.
So for me, when a team from lower division makes 8 changes,
yeah,
I expect the margin to be
a little bit big.
A bit bigger, huh? I mean, Coach Dan did say that, Greg, maybe this one they made it a little bit more difficult for themselves than they should have.
Yeah, he's expecting his team to, as Mr. Villele is saying that, they're supposed to win maybe probably like 3-4, you know, because the changes they did. But at the end of the day, win is a win, and it's a cup game. You know, anything can happen in a cup game. So you need to go to the next round. For in a cup game, you just want to go to the next round, and we hope and the draw favor them for the next game now, which will be interesting to see them in the final. And Dance have that experience of CAF in playing in the Continental. You know, so he's hoping that he can at least for the first time take Chippa to.
He's won this cup.
Yeah, yes.
I mean, there are coaches who have never won a cup.
That is true. You know, the law of
he's won this
averages
cup.
You seem to be suggesting.
And also, please. And also, it's for the second time he's taken Chippa to the semi-finals.
Yeah.
You know, now you can understand why Dance Chippa. You know,
right?
Because he always wafaka into it,
So for sure.
They understand each other.
Yeah,
they get each other. No. And then he's up against Pretoria Callies with either Sundowns or Pirates. You think it might be Sundowns up against?
No, I think it might be Pirates, not Sundowns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be surprised there in the cup game.
So you're saying Chippa
game.
will play Pirates?
No, Chippa is playing Kellys.
No.
In the final. In the final.
Yeah,
Chippa.
Be bold. Be bold.
Chippa Pirates. And second cup for Pirates again.
Second cup for Pirates.
Yeah.
There we go. That's a lot of faith.
Don't write off Dan, Chippa United. If you look the way they are playing, always a team that has got some players that are deemed surplus to requirement and they're given an opportunity. They are always very dangerous. The likes of LaFour and everything like that. Yeah.
Against an eight-man change team.
Now, no one expects Chippa United to be in the semi-finals. Yeah. And now they are dreaming to be in the finals. They're going to give it their all. You're going to get Mpengeshi coming and say, guys, surprise me, I will surprise you. And you don't want such a team. They will not be very disciplined when it comes to tactics.
They need to play semi-finals first. Let them get through the semi-finals.
You understand?
Yeah,
definitely they're playing.
Look, if some of the injured Pirates players are back by then, including Lodge, maybe we'll tell a different story.
Okay.
But
as it stands,
Sundowns.
The Mamelodi machine.
Look.
And Sundowns will be already in the quarterfinals.
No, for sure.
Of the CAF Champions League by that time.
Look, I'm
So
interested to see Sundowns, a team attacking Sundowns. I want to see them, how they react defending.
Okay, we'll
vis-a-vis defending. So you're going to have a Pirates team that is very good at attacking. The question will be, will Sundowns still be with that, the hunger to attack in the same pace?
Okay.
It will be very interesting.
It will be very interesting. Lots of good football matches to look ahead to as we discuss what's been happening. And of course, what to look ahead to is Kaizer Chiefs, who we discuss after we take a short little break. Yeah, we are in Monday Night Football after this. Welcome back to Monday Night Football, Lagu Soweto TV, and we're now focusing on Amakosi because one of the big news stories that broke over the weekend and one that sent social media into a bit of a frenzy was the release of NTSHANGASE. Also news coming through of NGEZANE's contract being extended, but I guess let me put it to my panel as far as this ultimatum that we're hearing for Coach Gavin Hunt, but the top 8 of next. I mean, it would seem fair that a top 8 finish would be the minimum, bare minimum for Kaizer Chiefs this season, Velile. But do you think it's that stringent? Do you think he's really on such a tightrope?
Well, this is the same Chiefs 2 seasons ago that finished outside the top 8. And the coach continued the following season.
And almost won a trophy.
Yeah.
One could argue.
Yeah. But also, I think you have to take into consideration that a lead of more than 10 points dropped into nothing.
For sure.
Come the end of the campaign. So, can this coach really go? Is this really about results? I'm not sure if this is about results. If there's an ultimatum, maybe it could be for other things. Because if we're going to put it just on the results, this coach has never signed players. And he got in, he didn't even have a preseason, proper preseason.
Right.
So a justification. So hence I'm saying to you, if there is something like that, yes, maybe your results will be used as an excuse.
Right. As a yardstick.
Otherwise, it is never really about results.
For sure.
Because if we're going to be basing it on results, and there are these factors that I'm counting, then whoever is taking that kind of a decision also needs to be questioned.
Well, let's talk about that if there's enough signs of progress then, Greg.
For me, from last season, you can say there's no a lot of progress in terms of where they are now at this time of the season, you know. But for me, with Gavin Hunt, I think for sure he's not finished for top 8. I mean, I've never, since he has been coaching, you know, I've never seen him go out of the top 8 in terms of this club of coach, you know. So I feel, you know, okay, with the Champions League included, you know, so there's two things he's fighting for now. You know, you want to come out from the group stage, you know, and you want to be in the top 8 at the end of the season. Top 8, I feel he will do that, you know, but, you know, the players need to take some responsibility too in terms of what is happening in that situation, you know. They need to come out, mostly the senior players, they need to back him, you know, because I just feel like, you know, they're trying to, okay, for me, you can see most of their performance, you know, as a senior players in the team. I think some trying to sabotage him. You can see clearly some try to sabotage him. You know, they feel like maybe he's too straightforward.
Right.
You know, they're used to that. You know, that coach that pets them. You know, they say that you are the best. He's straightforward, and he have been working for a lot of clubs. Yeah, he doesn't want you to be in comfort zone, and so those players they feel like, you know, this is the right time for we to do this and that. But for sure, I'm telling you that, you know, Kaizer Chiefs is going to finish in top 8, and he's. I mean, what can you say? He's the right coach for them, and as Mr. Villiers said. Give him next season. Let him get his players in. And from there, you judge him.
Okay, 13 out of 30 points this year. Okay, so 13 out of the 30 that have been available in 2021. And the record, you know, in terms of the recent run of forms, mainly draws. You know, I put it, if Greg saw progress, would you agree that there is?
Chiefs qualified for the CAF Champions League quarterfinals.
Group stages.
Group stages, yeah.
For the first time.
Right.
Given the material that he has got.
So, okay, so it's not a quality issue.
If you look at how they are playing, you can understand that, yeah, they are trying their best. You look at some individual mistakes. When the team is not performing, yes, people will assume there is sabotage and everything like that. It happens in football, and players will be labeled sabotage the coach. And I will say it's not. You get that moment. We can give the example for Kune. You know, there is no hell in this world where you can miskick and then it is sabotage. No, it can happen in the game of football.
No, we're not specifying one person. We're talking about
I'm trying
the
to
team.
explain.
When the majority of the team, 11 players, and 7 players are not performing for 5 games, 6 games,
there's
something wrong. And mostly
it is an assumption.
Particular players, you know, like in terms of the senior players.
It's an assumption. When the team is going through a bad patch, even the best player that you don't expect to perform that way, he ends up, because you get, for example, let me give you an example. You get Kamabiliat on the field of play and the rest of other players are not getting. It's going to affect his performance and everything like that. You're going to have that in a team. Now, the understanding of the team that you have is very crucial. Now, Kaizer Chiefs knows that they have been struggling. You know, losing the league on the last day of the season, for the mental strength of the players, it is a huge blow. What was done to try and help those players to prepare for the next season?
But you know, I always, when this statement is always made, because, you know, and I've been hearing a lot about this, that how can a team that just finished second last season
be so bad?
Be so bad? So if this team did very well, then why did you fire the coach? You understand? To bring in a new coach. Because for me, last season was a failure in the sense that Chiefs didn't lose the title on the last day.
Right.
They lost the title as they were coming in the second round, because the second round was the worst performance.
Right.
If you remember in the bubble, at some stage, Sundowns couldn't win their first 4 matches in the bubble.
Right. Which was
But
the
Chiefs,
opportunity for Chiefs to grow the league.
You can even go back to the games.
The Baraka one was the vital one. You know, the Baraka one, the Sundowns is a draw. I think it was a draw.
But also look at when Chiefs, I think it was just before they lost to Sundowns in the bubble, the draw against Stellenbosch. You look at even how they won that cheaper game before the last game of the season. Sure. So for me, Chiefs not winning the title last season was not just something of the last day.
Right.
And sometimes when, from last season, we bring the statement that Gavin should do well with this team because this team finished second last season. But this is a team in almost the entire second round that was
on a downward trend.
You see, Vele, when a team is struggling, what I can see here we have to balance the brand versus the reality. Now, you don't have the crop of players that are going to compete to defend the brand. Now, when you start hearing that the coach is being given, you know, an ultimatum, that is the reality versus the brand. We're talking about Kaizer Chiefs and what is on ground. Now, if you look at the progression, some of these players that have been given time to Gale and game time and everything like that, I can see it is progress, in my opinion. If he's given an opportunity with a player that is going to sign, then it becomes his own team. So they need to try and be patient.
Yeah.
Before Chiefs lost the league title, there were also comments of Millions going to lose his job and everything like that. That is detrimental to the team. So they need to try and manage that leakage of information from the camp and try to focus on what they are facing now. They need to try and, I can say, play ugly and get the result. And then as you start picking up points, you start play the entertaining football of the fans, of these commentators who like commenting about nice football.
Are we going to be back here next
even,
season?
Even the hardcore Chiefs fans,
Yeah.
they will tell you, even when they were all looking good, winning last season, but they will tell you about the state of their squad,
Right.
pound for pound. If that squad, you can even put it here and you put Sport United here, you put Cape Town City and you put that squad here.
Sure.
You know, and sometimes from Stuart Baxter, Steve Khombela, Solinas, Mirendorp,
Yeah.
and now Gavin Hunt, you can blame the coaches all you want,
Right.
but you will always, you know, you can
No, for
blame.
sure.
And at some stage, you must turn the mirror. Like
Well, this is why I was about to ask if we're going to be back here next season, you know, partly because he's going to have these new players come in, and then there's going to be that line of, no, but we must give him time. How much time does Gavin get now? Is next season this situation? Because you know what I mean? You know what I mean? He's
You know,
still in
But
time to
Kamza,
build the
Kamza,
team.
Kamza, Kamza, you are not. Our point is now we're saying let's leave the coaches.
Yes,
Is the management doing the right thing?
for sure.
Let's leave the coaches now. Let's put this Hunt thing aside. That each and every time, even before Hunt was there, it was the way the players that get signed. So something somewhere in the football project of Chiefs, something is not right.
Because I mean, that means then you anticipate maybe that the way they approach it, they might get caught out, because it's, you know, they tried this approach with Stuart Baxter is probably the best example where they got close to it, where it's kind of, well, we'll do it our way and we'll get something out, you know. So what is going to push them to change the approach? You say there's a turning of a mirror that needs to happen, but what's it going to take?
Kamza, what happens when you do the same thing over and over again and do
It's
it
called
wrongly? What happens?
insanity, for sure, yes.
What happens?
But they can still argue that with the same system, they have been winning some titles.
Some titles,
Yes.
being the last with...
You know,
But there's nothing to show in the last
you can
6
have,
years, eh?
But that's what I'm saying. But what is happening at Kaizer Chiefs is when Gavin Hunt signed, he knew he could not bring in new players.
Yeah.
So he knew exactly what he's going to
His
face.
limitations, yes.
So he had the squad. He was pretty sure about it. So what is happening now is that there has been
Tim, when he came in,
Yeah.
he knew that there was a promise of the appeal,
no,
Right.
but it was a
And he
promise.
was
It was
hopeful.
not guaranteed.
and he was
No.
hopeful. He was hopeful.
Yes,
You
but
understand?
that's for sure. But
You know,
The
and,
reality
and,
that-
when you listen to him now, and even when you can see when you want to play, yes, he's got the players, some experienced players, but it's not really the type of football that he wants to play.
Right.
You played under him, you know.
Since Gavin has been successful in terms of, okay, we talk about Swallows, he won trophies at Swallows, he went to Supersport, won the league twice, at Vets he won the league. He has his own style of play, and he has particular players that he needs.
Right.
He likes to play with wings, proper wingers. You talk about the Dinklage, you know, you talk about a lot of Glenn Simon. You talk about, there's a different strikers he need to use in terms of the wingers. Pelembe is example. You know, his defense, one thing you always, you know, he pride himself on is the defense. You talk Supersport, they concede less. When it's at Swallows, we concede less. When it's at Vets, they concede less. Defense, everything he starts for. He can win 1-0.
Right.
Gavin can win 1 into 10 games. But at the end of the day, I think he made a squad at Chiefs. He need to work on what he has in hand there. But at the end of the day, don't forget the top striker that came back from injury. That was Nokovic. Didn't start with him. it could have been different thing.
No.
It might not be different thing. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, give him a chance for next season. But top 8, he's not being top 8. Give him a chance for next season, get his players in, and he can perform.
Okay, speaking of...
For me,
Yeah?
he has got always, a barring wall. As a coach, he should be able to set up the same barring wall, considerless. There's no justification
Right.
to say that
I need certain
to
players.
say that
There's always justification.
No, I
Timothy,
think-
if I buy you from
what I'm going to
Bloemfontein
say- what I'm
City,
going to
if
say-
you are good at Bloemfontein City
Yes.
and you're at coaching Chase
Yeah.
and you're doing well there, I buy you for a purpose. You're gonna do
Yeah,
such
but
a thing.
it's not
for
a
me.
guarantee.
So he
it's not a
sets up.
guarantee. No, you're going to have a few Peter Shaulili players. You're going to have a few. But now you've got the back line that has played for a full season knowing each other. What you need is to get them to get you, concede less goals. We should understand the catastrophe they are in.
Okay.
You are
Yeah,
leaking
okay.
goals.
I think-
First play conservatively, close the
think
ship,
earlier-
and then you
I think
attack
earlier
later.
What you said is
Yes.
maybe the players or some players,
Yeah.
and especially senior players, are not pulling
Their
the same
weight.
direction.
Right.
Hence, I said when I started, if there's an ultimatum,
Mm.
I don't think it's just based on results. Yeah.
It's you or them. Okay, very quickly. Because we have to touch on the players. Look at him. Hold on. Nukovic, we need to speak. 1 league goal in 2021. Stavage, I remember there was a time when you were like, there's been offers. I'm sure now they might be thinking we should have cashed in. Or is it just the environment not conducive to him scoring goals? Are we seeing less of our player, or are we seeing the player that's...
Yeah, maybe they're also not playing according to his strength like last season.
yeah.
And secondly, I don't think when I've looked at him from a distance, and when I looked at the Nukovic from last season in terms of the attitude,
Body language, yeah.
I don't think he's
A happy
very
player,
much,
yeah.
Yeah.
I just feel that it's not the same Nukovic.
Sure.
The way he's,
Applying himself.
applying himself.
Yes.
And I think this is the time where I'm sure they're also thinking,
Yeah.
but we also know that he's one of the candidates. If some of the offers are still there at the end of the season, they will.
There's a lot of things happen to a player that
Yes.
if offers come to you, and you really know that there's a big offers on the table that you need to go. It's two things. As you earlier said, the management or the coach need to convince him.
Yeah, but
That's
Greg,
a
he
good-
got the terms that he wanted with the contract. He got a new improved terms.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You really want to stay at Chiefs, or do you really want to go? There's two things players. You can see when Billet it was at Sundowns.
Yeah.
He want to move. You know that he want to move.
But he would score.
He felt that
He would score.
He felt that okay, I've done enough.
Right.
You need to go new environment. Nukovic, maybe he feel the same, and they say he must stay and not his will. So maybe something they could have cashed in with him.
Okay.
I'm sure, as a former player, this is not new. When the team is struggling, there are so many theories thrown about.
Yeah.
So many.
Yeah.
And they fit into the puzzle at that particular moment. So we are looking at Kaizer Chiefs, which is really struggling.
Okay.
When they hit this one, it looks as if it's the truth. I disagree. There is no way a player can play to sabotage a coach or a teammate. There are these mistakes. That's why we love football so
Timothy,
much.
we're not
No,
talking-
we love football.
Tim, maybe you can separate fact from fiction here in NTSHANGASE. Here's a player. Much was expected, much was promised. His agent, Jasmine, comes out and says, listen, we kind of sat together and realized it wasn't working. As simple as that.
27 years of age, 6 returns after about 3 years is not a good return on investment. But he is a clear example of a player in this league.
Yeah.
Whenever a big team approaches you, you need to sit down and ask yourself a question. Which player am I replacing the team that I'm going to? The player already playing in that league, in that team, he has got funds, he has got the confidence of the technical team. So you are coming to join. How good are you that you're going to replace that player? So you make that decision knowing you have to be patient but be very competitive. Your attitude has to be different from the player that is already there.
Right.
I don't think he passed that.
I mean, we're hearing rumors, Stavage, of like bad discipline, off the park, that he wasn't really the consummate professional. And once you get into those things, even your teammates start feeling less sorry for you when they realize that you're a bit of a bad actor. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, look, it's also even alleged that maybe even the decision that led to the early termination
Early termination, yeah.
of the contract, could be something along those lines as well. You know, behavioral issues, drinking spree, and all those things. But I think when you really look at it, why would a team that can sign players and is struggling at the moment?
Yes.
And release him.
Yeah.
Terminated.
Terminate
Terminate.
early. Get him out
You know,
now.
You know, and maybe it could also be a situation of, you know what, we've got enough problems already.
Yes.
We don't need this.
Yes.
You know, so I think for me, at a time when we always hear of ex-players coming out
Yeah.
to even talk about, you know, I was struggling with this, I was
Yeah.
struggling with this. I remember, I think on Rob's show, the Marawa TV show, last year he did an interview with Konstantin Papic.
Yes.
And Papic coached the player.
Hmm.
And he came out about these things openly, you know, and he was counting them, you know. And he was saying, this player, if he can leave all these things
Yeah.
and concentrate on his football,
Yeah.
He can be a player of the season.
I was fortunate.
Greg-
I was fortunate to coach. Okay, I was one of the coaches at
Yeah,
Baroka. You know,
right.
when they signed him from Black Leopard.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay. Why Baroka releasing? He's a top player. You know, in that province, in that side, they really enjoy how he plays. But
Right.
off the field,
Yes.
I think he need to improve. That's why Baroka released him to Chiefs. Jasmine spoke to Korushi that no, Chiefs are looking for him. He said, "Oh, gladly, you know, cash in because what he was doing that time was unacceptable." And that time we have Dr. Kumalo, who was managed by Jasmine. So
Right.
it was very quick for him to go to Chiefs. But he need to change. As you say, he need to
but
change his behavior.
If you can't change at Chiefs, you can't change.
You can't change it anywhere. There we
No.
go. We're out of time, gents. Thank you very much for your expertise.
Then they
and thoughts.
fine you. They
No, they don't
No,
even
listen.
find you. That is the pinnacle of South African football. Sundowns, Pirates,
Well, this is the
Chiefs.
thing. I mean,
So where else are
someone
you
at
going
Chiefs
to?
didn't do their homework as to his behavior and to his lifestyle, because you can see those things from a mile away. Anyway, we're out of time. You will join us in a week's time, and we will reconvene to discuss all things Mzansi football. I hope you've enjoyed the fact that the filter was off. My panel. Thank you, gents. It's been good hanging out with you. To everybody at home, have a good evening. We'll catch you in a week's time. From all of us here at Monday Night Football,